Alright, what is up, everybody? We are back again with another lore reading for you guys. So this is Two Tricksters, Chapter 4 of the Odyssey. Let's have some fun. Hope you're excited. I am. Alright, so Maui sat on his haunches before a campfire. By the side of a coursing river, fireflies danced through the night. And he watched them for a time, enjoying the stillness of the night before turning his attentions back to his companion, the Tanuki trickster Danzaburo, who sat across from him, sipping on a bottle of sake. So, what's the plan again? Danzaburo peered up at him from beneath the brim of his straw hat. It is very simple, Maui. The Kappa come, we convince them to buy my wares, and scarper before they realize that we've been bought. What they bought, a child could do it, so you should have no difficulty. He gestured above, indicating the barrels of sake and various other wares piled up untidily around them, including a large sack full of cucumbers. Kappa, Maui knew, had a taste for cucumbers. Soon enough, the smell would draw them from the river. Maui raised an eyebrow. Is that any way to talk to someone who's helped you need? Danzaburo's tail fluffed in annoyance. You're the one who came looking for me, remember? I never claimed to need help. You offered. And you accepted, which implies you needed it. Nonsense, Danzaburo barked, exposing sharp white teeth. Besides, you never could resist a good trick, especially on a deserving target. Which Kuzenbo is, Maui said, the self-proclaimed king of the Kappa, was rapacious bully. Infamous even in the islands of Maui called home. If there was ever a creature deserving a trick, it was Kuzenbo. Oh, most certainly. This will be the third time this week. Danzaburo paused, snout twitching. Honestly, you'd think he'd learn by now. Some patterns of behavior are harder to break than others. Maui poked his fellow trickster with his curved hook. Speaking of which, Danzaburo batted the hook away with his paw. Yes, I saw Discordia. When? A few weeks ago. She stirred up with some trouble between Tsukiyomi and Susano. Not that it's particularly difficult. What happened? The usual. You know how she is. There's no rhyme or reason to her actions, Maui. She causes trouble because that's what she does. Paused. Of course, from what I hear, she's been busy, even for her. And what do you hear exactly? Depends. On what? Danzaburo rubbed two claws together in a universal sign for payment. Maui sighed. I'm helping you with this. Isn't that enough? Danzaburo fixed him with a smug look. You have helped me with this even if you didn't need information. But I am. In return, I want to know what you know. Danzaburo scowled at him. Fine. It would have told you anyway along. I'm sure you would have. Maui gave the Tanuki a knowing look. After all, you have no more reason to love Discordia than any of us. Danzaburo growled softly and set his bottle down. She gives us tricksters a bad name. The other gods think we're all cut from the same cloth as that one. Some of us are, Maui reminded him. Danzaburo waved that aside. Only the bad ones, not proper tricksters. Those cunning, maybe. Clever, some. Schemes for days, most of them. But one and all, they're no use when it comes to proper pranks and tricks. Like convincing the king of the Kappa to trade gold for empty bottles of sake. Danzaburo twitched his nose. They're not empty. They've got water in them. The way he said water made Maui doubt it was anything such that, with a pinch of my own special blend of dye to make them the right tint, Danzaburo went on. What about the taste? Danzaburo snickered. Taste is subjective. Maui grimaced. He was certain that whatever was in those bottles definitely wasn't water. I don't think Kuzenbo would agree. Kuzenbo has no palate, Danjiro said. He knocked a fist against the side of his... Oh, God. Technical difficulties, sorry guys. Kuzenbo has no palate, Danjiro said. He knocked a fist against the side of his head. I blame the head full of pond water. Maui didn't reply. He tensed. Something was splashing in the river. Something big. As he rose to his feet, he saw something large and dripping loom out of the darkness. There was a muffled sloshing as the newcomer stepped into the light cast by the campfire. I smell cucumbers and sake, Kuzenbo, king of the Kappa, rumbled. Danjiro bounded to his feet, wearing a false beard and mustache over his muzzle. Maui had never seen a tanuki put them on. Welcome, noble sir, welcome. Just the fellow I was waiting on. Kuzenbo paused. Yellow eyes narrowed and suspicious. Don't I know you? I would think I would remember meeting you, my lord, Danjiro said smoothly. Indeed, I am humbled to be in your presence. Awestruck even. Enthralled. Or, dare I say, overwhelmed by the sheer magnificence of your divine dankness. His began to slip as he spoke, and Maui alerted him with a surreptitious gesture. Danjiro hastily adjusted it as Kuzenbo's attention strayed to the sack of cucumbers. As you should speak, the Kappa grunted. Are you a merchant, then? Danjiro sketched a bow, his tail twitching. Indeed, you have a keen eye, my lord. I am indeed a humble purveyor of fine spirits and vegetables. Why, I'd wager I sell the finest sake in the land. You don't sound so humble to me, Kuzenbo said. False modesty serves no one, Maui interjected. Kuzenbo gave him a suspicious look. You're a long way from your islands, Maui. Maui wasn't surprised that Kuzenbo recognized him. The Kappa wasn't the sharpest knife in the block, but he was semi-divine, and thus well aware of the doings of the Pantheons. I came for the sake, as you must know, Maui said. He kept his tone polite. Kuzenbo could be dangerous when his fury was aroused, and Maui wanted to avoid unnecessary conflict if possible. Pele herself sent me to acquire all of it if there was to be had. Pele? Kuzenbo grunted in obvious surprise. He blinked owlishly and looked at Danjiro. The gods want your sake, then. They do! Nodding so rapidly that Maui was afraid that the Tanuki's false beard would fly off. Bacchus himself has demanded I provide him with my entire stock. He made a show of wringing his paws and dancing from one foot to another. And he is not the only one. They hound me day and night. Oh, to be so cursed. Every day brings new demands, new threats. If I only could get rid of it all, and thus escape their notice. Kuzenbo settled himself on his haunches. He casually dragged the sack of cucumbers toward himself with a claw. He began to eat without asking. He crunched into one. He said, "It seems that I might be of some help to you, merchant." Eh? Help? Danjiro asked. Kuzenbo took a bite of the cucumber and nodded. I will take your sake, and you'll be free of the gods. He swallowed a mouthful and reached for another cucumber. Give it to me, and go in peace. Danjiro assumed a quizzical expression. And you will pay for it? Kuzenbo sniffed. He gazed the sack of cucumbers as he pawed through it. I do not recall mentioning payment. He fixed Danjiro with a heavy gaze. Be glad that I'm taking it off your hands. Hold on, Maui said. He flung his hook across the fire and snagged a cucumber from Kuzenburo's hand. He bit into the vegetable and chewed noisily, ignoring a Kappa's outraged glare. I'm willing to take the whole lot as well, and I'll pay you a fair price for it. Kuzenbo's bowl sloshed as he heaved himself up. You dare! Maui ignored him and gestured at the sake with a half-eaten cucumber. In fact, how does say 3 bags of dried fish sound? Fish, Kuzenbo spat. He does not want fish. I do like fish, Danzaburo said, stroking his false beard speculatively. Kuzenbo whirled a glare at him. No, no fish. I will give you gold. I can get gold as well. Say, 2 sacks? He gave Kuzenbo a glance. Does that sound fair to you? I can give you 3, Kuzenbo said. 4, Maui said. 5, Kuzenbo growled. He raised a heavy fist. My final offer. Maui paused, as if considering. Very well. The sake is yours. Kuzenbo chortled as he gave a bellow. There was much splashing from the river, and soon several small kappa appeared, each of them dragging a sodden sack of clinking gold. They deposited the sacks before the fire, and Kuzenbo's gesture hefted the crates of sake onto their back. Kuzenbo reached to carry the last crate himself, but paused. Perhaps I should check it first, he grunted. I have been tricked before. Of course, Danjaburo said. He offered the kappa his own bottle. The Kuzenbo pulled off the cork, sniffed the contents, and took a sloppy swallow. He smacked his beak and his eyes widened in pleasure. It is good! The best! Danjaburo said. He bowed low. Kuzenbo turned and made for the river, still swinging from the bottle, his kappa waddling behind him. Keep the bottle with my compliments. Danjaburo called out as he waved goodbye. Then to Maui, out of the corner of his nose. Quick, help me with these sacks! He and Maui quickly hoisted the sacks onto their backs and raced away from the river, moving with divine speed. How long before you think he notices? Maui asked. Before Danjaburo could reply, a roar echoed from the direction of her. Not long, Danjaburo said, laughing. They did not stop running until they were a safe distance from the water, and Kuzenbo's wrath. Danjaburo settled onto a fallen log and patted one of the sacks of gold. I know a village here that will make good use of this, he said. He looked at Maui. Your help was much appreciated. Maui nodded and gave him an expectant look. Danjaburo sighed. Fine. I have heard some things. Loki mentioned that Discordia was fiddling about the lands of the Celtic pantheon. Something about trapping one of them in the shape of a bear. And Loki knew this how? You know Tricksters, Maui. We are all internet gossips. Loki heard it from the Morgan Le Fay, who had stepped in before things got out of hand. Danjaburo shrugged. Of course, knowing Loki, he could be lying, or Morgan might have been. But there are whispers that Discordia was abroad in the lands with our neighbors as well. That she whispered something in the ear of the Dragon King of the Eastern Seas, and that he in turn encouraged some unfortunate behavior on the part of the headless warrior Sing Tian. But again, that's just whispers. Maui settled back on his heels, digesting this. Discordia's trail was littered with similar stories. She has been seen in the lands of the Babylonian gods, and not long after, Ishtar had attacked King Gilgamesh of Uruk, though there was no guarantee that the two events were connected. Even so, the reverberations of Ishtar's arrival were still echoing through the world, and likely would for some time. Wherever Discordia went, the threat of war followed. The conflict between Pele and Vulcan was just one more spark on the bonfire. He looked at Danjaburo. What other whispers have you heard? Danjaburo sniffed. I might have heard a mutual acquaintance that Baba Yaga is blaming Discordia for provoking the Demon King of Lanka, Ravana, into invading the lands of the Chernobog, but Baba Yaga had reason of her own for seeking Chernobog discomfited. But so, who knows whether there's any truth to that? Danjaburo plus. Another thing, have you ever seen the lands of the Maya recently? No, why? I was there for... Well, it's no matter. But I spoke to Humbats, who had a tale. They said someone lured Oleron into the Mayan underworld, where he was attacked by Camisards. Oleron triumphed, of course, but now Apush and the other lords of Xibalba are accusing the Yoruba Pantheon of invading their territories. Dansborough produced another bottle of sake from somewhere and popped the cork. Not to mention but who else would do such a thing? Maui frowned. What is she up to? He murmured. Mostly to himself, but Dansborough took a swig from the sake bottle and handed it to Maui. And who says she is up to anything? He asked pointedly. You know as well as I that sometimes it is much the trick itself as the result which motivates us, and Discordia lives for chaos. She sows it wildly, just to see what poison will sprout. She endangers us all, and it's not just us, Maui said. He took a sip of the sake and handed it back. Dansborough took another long swig. What are you proposing? He asked after a moment. Maui pushed himself slowly to his feet. That we teach her a lesson. One that she will not soon forget. He looked down at Dansborough. Do you care to lend a hand? Dansborough gave a shrill laugh. Play a trick on a trickster? Have you ever? As if you even have to ask. He raised the sake, and I know a few others who might be interested as well. Alright, that's actually not a... That's an interesting story. You guys have to tell me what you guys think. But is Discordia causing the sprouting the seeds of discord everywhere? Causing all this chaos? I guess we'll have to find out later on at some point. But until then, guys, this has been your Smite Lore reading, and that is the rest of the Odyssey. So I hope you guys have a fantastic day or night, depending on when you're watching this, and we'll catch you guys on the next one.